listening to the second most recognizable podcast behind me, Joe Rogan.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It is time for another episode of Sorry for Screaming. I'm your host, Gerald Torregosa, along with my cohort, Alan Adams. Alan, how are you on this Sunday afternoon?
I was fine until I had to watch you do the intro live.
I'm not even going to put that. I'm going to put a black screen. Because,
Are you?
yes, because nobody's ever seen me do the intro.
You'll be like Wilson on...
Yes, for that segment. Like,
what was that movie? Home Improvement? Oh, Show.
Home Improvement. We should review that.
Speaking of Hackery Factory.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, we should do hack sitcoms for our Zoom reviews that we're planning on dropping.
Yeah. Hey, guys, just in case you...
we should call it hack sitcom review.
I like to let people know what's going on. We just, for production, peek behind the curtain.
The literal curtain. We got a literal curtain. So when Gerald says peek behind the curtain, we have a literal curtain back there.
We just shot a movie review for Death Wish, and if you go on YouTube and look up Midnight Movie Review, we put up Jurassic Park, I think, last week. So if you want to check that out, please do. But we are also committed to this show. So we're recording it on a Sunday, just because it's easier. Me and Alan are already here. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Couple things that I wanted to do at the top. The topic for the show, by the way, is somebody sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. $18,000. Should I just... Oh, you can't...
When you say invisible...
You need headphones for this because you won't be able to hear all the stuff.
Oh.
I have a laughing. How can you hear it?
Through your headphones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I hear it good.
That's all you want to hear. You don't want to actually hear all
I'm just pretending so I don't have to listen to it. Yeah, I hear it great. I can't even hear you. I'm just pretending. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Gerald.
Yeah, it's bad that somebody bought a...
When you say invisible, was it like clear, like see-through, or are you saying like imaginary friend invisible?
We will get to that shortly. See, that was a teaser.
Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
He's
now.
on the edge of his seat, man. But just a couple things, because I used to do this on my old show. I was driving out to Alan's to our office. This is our office.
To the studio.
To the... What was my old place called? The Manifest Studios.
Manifest Studio.
We should name this something else, since this is a whole new genre. This is like version 2.0. You know how like Iron Man had like a second like fucking outfit? This should be called something else. Like everything in this frame that the people can see.
Jay Leno Studios. We should name it after our spirit animal.
I wish this was easier to like access so I could just show people the late shift fucking book back there. But yeah, we should figure out a name for it, because this is a new version. We have like a fucking video version now.
Setup.
Yeah, we have like an actual video version of everything that's happening here. I'm like so scared that none of this is working because I'm out of my element. Like normally this is like in my home studio. So I stopped at the gas station, and the first thing I saw, my phone's over there, but this guy, he went from one gas station to another. Because he had like a giant cup, and it was like from Buc-ee's. It was like a giant soda cup, like this large.
Right.
And he had, he was at the gas station with me. And one of the only things that I miss.
Were you carpooling here? Was he doing a podcast next door?
What if there's like a good old boys podcast? Because that's what he looked like. What if that's just like next door to you and you don't even know about it?
Buc-ee sponsored podcast.
We are the second most recognizable gas station podcast behind Shell. And just like real mad. But like in my head, I was like, this dude went from one fucking gas station to another. And it like took forever. There was like some lady at the front, some like Hispanic children. I don't know what she was buying, but it took them like a fucking hour to like check out. And that's probably like one of the few things I do miss about New York City, where like somebody would exclaim from the back of the line, "Yo, hurry the fuck up!" You know?
Yeah,
like,
they don't do that here.
No, people just...
You get shot here and you scream out at some
Everybody just kind of like grab their face and squeeze.
Death wish for real in Texas.
They just grabbed they squeezed their face and just like waited for them to fucking buy their crap. And I was like so mad. And then I thought about you. So, you know when you go down the YouTube rabbit hole and like Siri and Alexa and all these devices are listening to us, right?
Right.
And something came up on my screen or my YouTube, and it was some urologist. And now that we're here, I might as well like show you some of these things. So there was this slightly wonky-faced urologist. Where did she go? It's this lady. Rena Malik. She's an MD.
Okay.
Did you get your vasectomy yet?
Yes. Almost 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God. Was your urologist a male or a female?
A guy.
You really are like Paul Kersey from Death Wish. This guy's fucking all business. Just like non-emotional. Yeah, some dude's just gonna cut on my crank.
It's and like you didn't Army veteran.
Yeah, you didn't give a fuck. I couldn't handle that. Like some dude just like. So this lady was talking about.
Okay.
Jamie, pull that up for me. Jamie pulled this up for us. Where's my button? See? Now you get to see how it all works. It's like it takes too long to get from one to the other.
You're listening to the second most recognizable podcast behind me, Joe Rogan.
Can it show? Anyway, so this lady's a urologist, and she was talking about like cranks and how long sex should last. And she's not like hideous or anything, but like I saw her on Instagram because she's got like an Instagram. And one of them was like, what was one of the topics that I was just like, no, urologist explains how you can increase your semen volume.
Volume?
Yeah, she's slightly horse-faced. Like, look. Well, you don't have semen. You don't have semen volume anymore because you're.
Well, when you mean volume? Do you mean like the amount of semen coming out, or the amount of sperm in your semen?
No, the amount of semen. Because I watched this whole video. Like it came onto my.
Do women? Is that something?
Hold the mic closer to you.
Is that something women want?
I really am the poor man's Joe Rogan because I'm sure you watched it. You need to hold that closer to your face.
Is that something women want? Do they want more volume of semen coming out?
I like the hand gestures that you made there.
It's sprinkling.
I don't know. I think it's more of a guy thing. Guys want to be macho and have all the fucking. It was a violent jizz. You know, like all angry.
Okay.
But my thing was, this is what we've come to in society, where this lady is like, she's a urologist. God bless her.
Not ugly.
She's
not beautiful. Not ugly.
She's slightly horse-faced. I should bring it closer to the camera. She's little bit long chin there, and that's okay. She's slightly horse-faced. She's not hideous. But this is what we've come to, and I don't know how to feel about it. Like urologists. We live in an attention economy, Alan. That's my point to you. Is that this is what we are now. Is that we're just people that, you know. She can't just be a doctor anymore. She's got to get on YouTube and talk about how voluminous the fucking semen is. And I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I'm slightly disturbed by the whole thing. Like, I didn't want to always talk about OnlyFans on our show. I know it's a gimmick of our show.
Maybe if you showed more cleavage, we'd have more fans. We'd have more followers. Why don't you sex it up a bit, Torregosa? You obviously don't want us to make it. If you're not willing to put in the work. Take a couple buttons down on that shirt.
You like Dr. Ian Malcolm? Show your fucking tits. You watch Death Wish? Show us your crank, bitch. You a punk-ass motherfucker like Dustin Hoffman? Take out your crank. Quit being a bitch.
How long did she say sex should last?
What women want is 25 minutes. What generally happens is 9 minutes.
25 minutes of thrusting?
Penetration. From entrance, now that I have a camera, to explosion should be 25. That's what women say they want. Okay. And what people think that it lasts is 15. And then apparently, according to studies, some people use the stopwatch. I want them to do it. If they're going to do this fucking gimmick where people are talking about fucking, they need to start having it in the hospital where there's a door and then a stopwatch and like, hey, I'm done jizzing, and then hit the clock.
Like your high school coach.
Yes.
That used to hold the stopwatch and do
because they're just trusting people. And yeah, that was a pun. That was like a rapper pun. Trusting and thrusting. You know what I'm talking about? They're just trusting that people are being honest. I mean, obviously 9 minutes, you know. It's not a long time. But women want 25. They want a fucking, woo, Ric Flair, like 45 minutes down Broadway.
Right.
Man, that's a long time to be, you know? I don't know. But that's what we've come to, Alan. Is we've got fucking doctors.
If you have a larger size penis, do you have to do less time? Like the smaller it is that the more time? And like the bigger you are,
it's like real life. Like if you're a huge draw, right? Dave Chappelle, he can go out and do 20. Everybody's happy.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, as a woman, and I don't know, would you rather, like, bringing it back to comedy as we do, you really want like a week? You want a week 29 minutes, or do you want a strong 9 minutes? Like, you want Tonight Show level, like your Tonight Show level, like strong 9 minutes? Or do you just want like an open mic 29 minutes where you're just going up there and you're trying like new material?
Stuff. He's out here trying new shit.
Right.
Don't give me that new shit.
You're like looking at your notes for a little bit. Well, so what do you want to do now? What's up? So what's been going on lately? You riding from the stage?
I have nothing to bang. I'm used to banging my own stuff. This is your stuff.
You can bang it. It's fine. You can bang our free donated table.
What are you talking about? This is we found this in the warehouse. What's his name? What's that other show? Our rival show? This is from Andrew Schultz's warehouse. It is. But I'm just upset that we just now, like, I don't mind that there's urologists, but in my head, like, why does she have to be like somewhat attractive? Why can't it just be like some old Jewish guy like I'm used to? Hey, I'm Dr. Schwartz. You know what I mean? And then he just like comes out and talks about like your crank problems.
Right. Well, I mean, you know,
this is where we're at, man.
You got to have the gimmick.
Yeah, she's a gimmick. Yeah. Like, I'm bothered by that. I don't know. I'm bothered by the gimmicks. So I guess we'll go into this other.
To our gimmick.
Do our fucking gimmick. I'm just pissed off. An invisible sculpture has sold for $18,000, Alan.
Define invisible.
All right, here we go. We all thought the art world had done it all when that banana was taped to a wall. But the trend of slightly bizarre sales has gone one step further. This is from Creative Block with a Q.com. They're the Daily Mail of creativity. I don't know that. I just wanted to say that. This invisible sculpture has sold for $18,300. And I'm looking at the photo, and it's just a sidewalk with a chalk.
Okay, like a chalk outline.
Yeah, like as if somebody was murdered.
Of where the stand would be, I guess.
This mind-blowing project, which needed none of our essential art techniques, was the brainchild of 67-year-old Italian artist Salvatore Garau. We were talking about Dino De Laurentiis, who happens to also be Italian and is the grandfather of everyone's favorite hot little 50-year-old
Guy Ferrari. That piece of ass.
I'm going to take you to Flavor Town.
For 29 minutes, baby girl.
Giada's not here today, but I am.
Taking you to Pound Town for 25 minutes.
This is going to be the bomb.com. In your mouth, I'm Guy Fieri. Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
I'm going to dive right in.
Hey, Gerald, Giada's not here today, but I am. My name's Guy Ferrari. SMC. Super melty jizz. Doesn't make sense, but doesn't have to because I'm a hack. My name's Guy Ferrari.
Super melty cum.
See, Alan's good. He's always got to make it artistic. He's like, no, that's not right. It's not right, Gerald. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
If we're going to be hacked, we're going to be hacked the right way.
I know you haven't done stand-up in a long time, but I have. Let me help you. Okay. Italian artist Salvatore Garreau, entitled Io Sono or I Am.
What are you doing? Oh, okay.
This dude hacked my guy, Derek Delgadio. The invisible piece was initially put at auction between $6,000 and $9,000. However, the price was actually raised after a flurry of initial bids. We certainly admired the confidence of the artist, that's for sure. According to AS.com, is that ass.com? The artist is philosophical about the piece, asserting that it is not simply nothing but a vacuum. The vacuum is nothing more than a space full of energy. And even if we empty it and there is nothing left, according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that nothing has a weight. Therefore, it has energy that is condensed and transformed into particles.
Did he take DMT before this interview? Before he gave that quote? You know, this is why people hate rich people. This guy isn't the problem, okay? This guy is just doing a gimmick. He didn't have tits, so he had to come up with something else.
Yeah, he doesn't look as good as 50-year-old Giada. So I'm looking at him right now.
So he had to come up with something else.
I mean, he is Italian and he is wonky-faced.
So he came up with this sculpture.
Bullshit sculpture.
Yeah.
That he probably thought rich people would pay between $6,000 and $9,000 for.
And someone paid for it. The problem
$18,300
is that someone paid for it. The problem isn't him. He just did something and was like, "Let's see if this works."
And
like,
it worked.
No one knows him.
Right.
So he's like, "Let me try this. All my other gimmicks have failed.
Right.
Let me try doing nothing.
Let me just sell this.
Let me sell nothing."
Chalk.
Yeah, and someone came along and bought it, and that's why no one likes rich people. It's because someone spent $18,000 on that.
You know what, man? And just because I wrote something else about that links to this. See, the reason I don't like artists, not that I don't like art, how do I say this? The reason why I have a hard time with some of this, like, I think Banksy I enjoy because he's kind of a prankster. Remember, because he had that thing that like exploded or went through the shredder or whatever that was? Mm-hmm. Like, he's kind of doing this like fuck you thing.
Right.
Which I appreciate. Like, it makes me amused. Like, as a person that likes comedy, that is a practitioner of comedy, that did stand up, like, I just like funny stuff.
Right. There's at least thought behind it.
Right.
Like creativity.
Right. He fucked with them. He's like, well, if you want to fucking pay millions of dollars for my shit, fine. And then it explodes or whatever. I'll look it up and add it here in the video, right? These artists, I don't know them. And I kind of am curious. I'm like, are they living the gimmick? Like Ric Flair lived the gimmick. He was, when he wasn't wrestling, he was the nature boy.
Are you asking, do they know they're frauds, or do they think they're
correct?
Something special? Does this guy think he's the Michael Jordan of sculptors?
Right. That's what I want to know. Because
or does he know that he's actually the James Harden of sculptors?
Because like Ric Flair lived the gimmick. He was the nature boy. He would wine him, dine him, and 69 him after the match, apparently. He talked about it in his documentary, which is one of my favorite documentaries that I watched recently within the last, 3 years. Like, wrestling as a whole, the characters know, the people watching know, they know it's a gimmick. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Like one of my favorite things recently, Roman Reigns, who was supposed to be the John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin of this era, it didn't work really well. So they made him a heel, and he does this thing where he comes out and he says, "I'm the head of the table, and because he's Samoan, I'm the tribal chief," and he stares people down and he says, "Acknowledge me," and I fucking love it because as a person that just wants the recognition, right? Like, I get it, but it's a gimmick ultimately. At the end of the day, it's a storyline in the thing.
Right.
Whereas my frustration with the artist, like this guy that's selling this blank plot for $18,000, Like, I would respect them more if they were like, hey, this is like Banksy blowing up his fucking art is him basically showing people, hey, this is all bullshit. This is on you. You want to pay for my stuff? That's you, baby.
Right.
But then what happens with all these high society people is that they see, because there's hype behind him and he's a thing in their eyes, when it explodes, it's like, oh, let's all stand up and applaud Banksy. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas, like, if you and I did it, because we don't have the branding, which is why we should just fucking have some shit on Etsy that we just fucking sell.
Set
like,
on fire
I should just,
as soon as they buy
I
it.
should take a screenshot of this and just put it on Etsy for like $75,000 fucking dollars. Call it White Man and Asian Heritage Month, and just sell it for $75K. We'll call it Harmony, and just fucking.
The more trash it is, the higher you sell it for, and that's how you get respect.
Like, I should sell your little moccasin on there.
Yeah.
If that
Used
sold for
moccasin.
50,000, used moccasin, would you fucking split the money with me if that sold for like 50K?
Sure.
We should just do that. We should just put it part of the.
Sorry for
See, I can't
screaming.
even do it right. Part of the Sorry for Screaming podcast, used in the first video recording during Asian Heritage Month. You know? But see, like, I'm saying it's a gimmick. They won't say it. Instead,
See, I think that's the key. I think once you're
trying to sell bullshit, you just have to keep the bullshit going.
it's not enough to sell out. It's not enough to sell. You have to sell out in your mind too. You just can't sell out. You have to go all the way with the selling out.
Okay, I watched a YouTube video. There was a lady, and maybe I should show it to you and then play the audio. I can't do it. Well, I probably could, but I don't want to set it up. She was this lady that thought she was really, really smart. I think I have it in my watch later. And, God.
To me, I don't know, PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then 6. It has nothing to do with your background. I don't think you really have the highest EQ out of all of us. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself. He was ranking intelligence based on his point of view and not taking in other people's point of views and compiling results. But really just came down to his body language, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards the group.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean, and number 6 is Maria.
Haha! You ain't as smart as you thought you was, bitch. The Asian guy was, though. That's it. Like, I love that. But see, that's my question.
It's all
like,
confidence.
like now, like after watching that, because I have fought, and I'll show the video in the YouTube version. I have fought for so long, because you and I are smart, but we also don't proclaim to be the smartest. You and I joke about Elon Musk on this show a lot, but neither you nor I says, I'm as smart as Elon Musk. I could get us to Mars, right? We're a certain kind of smart, right? Whereas that lady, she was just not smart at all. She thought she was the Ric Flair of smart. What I love at the end of that is that everybody thought the Asian guy was the smartest, and then he was. Like, even though that's like racist by many people's standards,
Yeah.
he ultimately was by IQ. We're talking about intelligence quotient, I think is the correct phrase there, right? But she was the dumbest, apparently.
But she was she was the most confident.
So maybe the reality that we're getting to, and you know, I'm just wondering, is maybe people aren't as smart as they think they are. Maybe some people are just
It's
not
about
self-aware.
confidence. A lot of it's about confidence.
You think so?
A lot of it's smoke and mirrors. It's about perception. Perception. I think people are way more into perception than they are into reality. I don't think we are.
So I just have to carry this belt around and just keep telling people, I am the Intercontinental Champion. We are the second most recognizable podcast behind Joe Rogan. And it looks like
And
I'm
if you
doing
say
a
it
promo.
enough times, eventually people will start believing it.
This is, so I should just do like a 10-hour loop of that.
For when people go to bed. Like sell a tape when people go to bed. and it just plays in their ear.
Like in the fourth hour, I just add this. Like at the beginning, I do a thing where I'm like, "Hey, this will help you fall asleep." And then in the fourth hour, while they're like supposed to be fast asleep, the second most recognizable podcast behind Joe Rogan is "Sorry for Screaming," Intercontinental Champ. But yeah, it's really frustrating in the sense that like maybe I'm just beginning to think that people are just not self-aware. You know, like I think about deep shit all the time. And I like after watching that, initially I laughed. But then like I was thinking maybe she's just not self-aware to understand that she's not as smart as she thinks she is. Like I'm so self-aware that I'm like, okay, meaning that sounds cocky. What I mean is like I recognize that I'm reasonably smart at certain things, but then there's also so much I don't know, whereas she is not self-aware that she's not as smart as she thinks she is. Does it make sense?
Right.
Like, I don't think she's doing a gimmick. I think that
no, I'm
in
not
that
saying
video,
it's a gimmick.
right? She
what
believes,
I'm saying is she
like,
believes
I'm fucking
her own...
smart, son.
Right.
And then she got punked.
Right.
Right.
But I bet the other people thought that she was smart too because of the way she was carrying herself.
Yeah, she was talking,
and
as
that's
if,
what I'm saying. Like, it's all about confidence and like what you're saying. Do you believe in it? Like what you're saying, like. You don't like think of like these politicians. They get out there and they make these grandiose statements. They don't even have facts to back up what they're saying.
Right.
They just come out and they say, "This is what we need to do to fix this, this, and that problem." And there are no other options. We either do this or things get worse.
Right.
And it's like they come out and they look polished and they're dressed nice and they're speaking with authority and people just go along with it. And no one ever says, "Well, what facts do you have to back this up?" Or how do you know this is going to work?
So
or
we just need a prettier set.
Or we've done this in the past and it hasn't worked.
I shouldn't say that.
What's going to make it work this time?
Right.
And like people just go along with them because they're like, oh, this person's in authority. This person is speaking confidently.
Right.
And this person is well dressed and well tailored.
We are the authorities. And Alan worked really hard on this set. My side's a little bit bare. That's my fault. But nonetheless, we are the authorities. We're the second most recognizable podcast behind Joe Rogan. This belt fucking said so.
Yeah, we had to build this set to make it look like I did the podcast in a closet for 2 years.
and
so I could get the acoustics right, but no, couldn't keep doing that. Had to go to IKEA and buy some shelves. Had to go to Walmart and buy some curtains. Had to go beg this coffee table from a family member.
No, Alan makes a lot of money from this podcast, and he poured it back into this. That's what we should tell people.
True.
This is a
I had to buy this invisible Rembrandt behind us.
This is. I don't know.
Fucking bullshit!
So we could have some nice art up here. Cost me thousands of dollars.
Is that your invisible Pablo Picasso?
Yes.
Man, did you know if you stare at it long enough, it talks?
Hey, vodka rocks. What do you say you and me get nipple to nipple?
That's crazy. The thing talks, huh? What else did I write? Hey, I'm a urologist. I know dudes would rather watch a woman talk about dicks than dudes. I think, this was amusing to me. I think that's kind of why, not like as humans, I feel bad for porn stars because like, I think, being serious for a second, I think getting slammed on camera cannot be good for your soul. But at the very least, like you can't fake that gimmick. I guess it's why I like UFC.
How about getting slammed metaphorically like Guy Fieri? He gets slammed every week on dives and drive-ins or what.
I was watching, what's the angry one? The angry guy with the blonde hair. What's his name?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Because I made steak that I sent you the photo of me, the steak that I cooked. And I was like looking up how to cook steak. And a Gordon Ramsay thing came on. And I was like, and at the end he goes, hey, what's up? You just learned how to cook steak and my name's Guy Ferrari. He says that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's like fucking with them. And he's like, you probably enjoyed this video so much because I'm Bobby Flay. And I was like, is Bobby Flay like a piece of shit jabroni? Because I don't know. I don't know the difference between...
Maybe in that world, he's a hack.
That's what I mean, because you can't fake certain things, right? Like Giada, as much as I love her, did you know that I think I told you this during that show? She will often put the food in her mouth, chew it, and go and then spit it out.
Because she don't want to gain weight, or she
I
doesn't
guess
think
so.
it's good.
Or it could be both. Well, if the food's not good, and maybe she doesn't want to mess up her prime figure, as they said in Death Wish.
Guy Fieri's not spitting shit out. Have you seen that dude?
Man, I'm going to Flavor Town again and again.
He's just going down on that pizza. They're like, ugh, gross. They're like, cut the cameras
Cut.
off.
Cut, Guy. That's enough.
Guy, put your pants back on.
It's a cooking show.
He's like rubbing it on his chest. He's like rubbing the cheese in his hair. How you think I get these highlights?
No.
That's SMC.
Super melty cum, super melty cheese. That's how I get the color. Triple C. Color, cheese, cum. Good night. That's Guy Fieri's gimmick. But you can't fake certain gimmicks, right?
Right.
Like tonight, what do you think of this Paul Logan thing? Because like by the time this comes out, the fight will have already happened. So Paul Logan is fighting Mayweather, who, by his record, Mayweather has never lost. Boxing purists that love people to go in there and brawl do not like Mayweather because he's not interesting to watch.
There's like no drama.
Right. He's just not going to get hit, and he's going to counter you, and then he's going to win on points.
Okay.
Tonight is an exhibition, obviously. It's not going to go I don't think it's going to go against his actual boxing record, which is 50-0. And Logan Paul and the Paul brothers, they're kind of trolls. And he's managed to troll his way into this fight with Mayweather. I don't know how I feel about this. I find the whole thing bizarre. Like, is Mayweather out of money? Is he like desperate for attention?
Because you're saying like Mayweather should like not even know who this dude is, like not even be giving him the time of day.
Right. And like, so let me ask you, would you like, let me think. Because what would be the equivalent? Because like, let's say Mayweather could make $10-20 million for basically doing nothing. Because for him, I'm assuming that this fight is like nothing to him. It doesn't matter.
He's not going Rocky. He's not like going to Russia and lifting up like carts with donkeys on
Right.
them
He
and
doesn't
running up a mountain.
Right. Like, I don't even know if he has to really train or train hard or train at all to fight this
Like,
Logan
he
brother.
probably just went to like Planet Fitness a couple rounds, did a couple bench presses.
It's the like
did some Stairmaster.
if I'm saying, because I'm not a professional fighter, I'm the backup to the backup to the backup of Joe Rogan. A lot of people don't know that, but when there's those UFC fights, I'm like third behind as far as the announcers. I'm just the announcer, right? If Mayweather had to fight me or you, he would take one look at me and one look at you and be like, yeah, I don't have to. Like, he probably would intentionally make sure he didn't train to give himself more of a difficult time. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whereas at least the Logan guy's somewhat fit,
Sure.
right? What would be the equivalent of that in comedy? Like, for you? Like, what would be the equivalent of you just, like, doing, like, what's, like, the easiest show? It would be like you doing, like, 10 minutes and them paying you, like, $100,000.
Right.
Something like that on a hot show. It would be like you having to, like, guest spot for Dave Chappelle and them just giving you, like, $80,000. You would just do it, right?
Right.
Because it's $80,000.
But it'd be like no challenge.
Right,
You're
it
going to
would-
do well because the crowd's hot. Just do some, I just do throwaway jokes.
Right.
Like, don't even have to practice the
You could
set.
probably just go up there and lift your leg and fart. And people, oh, shit, that white boy, he farted. Oh, shit. Because
Yeah.
they're excited to see Dave Chappelle. But you, as a performer, wouldn't have to. And I wonder if that's the same thing for Mayweather, where he's like,
I think so.
you think
It's like,
so?
let me just get that money. I mean, 20 million's 20 million.
Yeah, 10 or
whatever.
10 or 20.
10 or 20's 10 or 20.
$1 million is a lot of
Right.
money. And for him
And
to
like,
ju-
no one's going to remember this. Like, they might talk
Right.
about it now and be like, why is he doing this? And give him a hard time.
even if he loses.
But like in 3 months, no one's going to be talking about
right.
this.
Even if he loses, he's like, well, I've got another $20 million for nothing.
Right.
For nothing. To just stand in the ring with this.
He should retire and just make invisible sculptors. Invisible statues.
And like scream about it.
Right.
I'm the greatest boxer ever. This is my sculpture.
This
25
Italian-
million.
This Italian guy's probably just a homeless guy that just yelled at.
What do you think
he just yelled at the?
How do you think of his
rich
looks?
person.
Because I'm gonna put him on the screen. He's on the right side there. That's him, allegedly.
He looks like he could be a urologist. Actually, I don't think he looks bad. He kind of looks like he could be like an actor in a Lifetime original film.
Yes.
Like he doesn't look good, but he doesn't look bad.
Right.
But
He's
he
not
kinda
horrible.
He kind of looks like he. This guy looks like. All right. This guy looks like he thinks he's a really good artist.
Yes. That's what I got from him.
Like a poor man's Picasso.
Did you like Picasso? We talked about him. We were texting and then you stopped texting back because I sent you The Boy in the Pipe and I think you got mad.
I like Picasso, but as I've told you a million times, Picasso was a classically trained artist. He didn't just come out.
Yeah, he didn't show up out of nowhere.
Just drawing like just weird things that like a 5-year-old could draw.
Right.
Like,
he went on a journey.
He learned how to do things the right way and
Before
then
he did his own
then
style.
He went off script, and
Right.
then he did these weird paintings. So he's a real artist, and I liked him. I mean, I thought, let's put it this way. I think what you're asking is, do I think Picasso was legit? Yes, he was legit.
Okay. You don't think this sculpture thing's legit?
How can you?
It's hard to
Like
buy
I'm
into.
serious. Like I'm being serious. How can you think it's legit?
Because there was that banana, you know, the banana that was duct taped to the wall that sold for like 100 and
Right.
whatever thousand. Like by now, that banana's got to be rotten, and somebody paid for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's. I don't think it's legit. I think it's just people just. It's about the idea, and like I can come up with an idea. I'm just not connected, so I'm not going to sell anything for
We should come
$18,000.
up with ideas and just start selling it on Etsy. I'm serious. From this day forward, we should just have like random modern art. You know what I mean? And just put like some obscene price tag on it on Etsy.
Right.
Like that giant skull. Like I love that giant skull that's in your background there on your shelf. You should do something to that and put like a price tag of like $65,000 and we could split it.
Put some super melty cheese on top and say it's Guy Fieri.
Dude. Yes, and call it Brain Guy Fieri.
Flavor Town.
That's exactly what we should call it, Flavor Town. We should do that and vlog it. Like, I'm serious. Because I love that skull, actually. The skull's, like, so funny looking. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start selling modern art on the show.
This is our last podcast. We're going to become modern artists.
What if we did that and we became successful at it? What if we were those guys? Like, we had some gimmick name. The Coen brothers. And you know how, like, it's like sometimes you steal names so people get confused?
Right.
No, not the directors. The two modern artists. And but we never talk. We only type stuff. And it just has some pictures of us like that.
Looking serious.
Yeah.
In like a JCPenney suit. Just make sure we don't have the tie on. We just had the white shirt unbuttoned a little bit and wrinkled.
This is a piece we came up with. It's called Flavor Town. You just stare at the camera.
Super melty cheese.
This one's called Super Melty Cheese. You have to like look real serious.
Yeah.
Like Charles Bronson. That's the gimmick. You got to look serious like Charles Bronson because that guy looked real mad.
Yeah, he did. He looked like he has just been working his ass off with these invisible like sculptors. Like it took him like 48 months.
Right.
He was slaving every day. He
Right.
lost his family.
He wanted to get the lines correct.
Right. He's like in some apartment and like he lost touch with reality. His wife left him because he was working so hard on this invisible
Right.
sculptor.
He cared. What you call it? Tupac cares if don't nobody else care. Take this and show this to the camera, folks. So, I guess that's it for this afternoon. Is there anything else you need to add before I hit our outro
I'm kind of
music?
depressed that you told me this story about this invisible sculpture.
Why did you get depressed about that?
that someone
Paid
got-
$18,000 for it?
Yeah, and that's
We're on the way. We're gonna make that.
dude's famous now.
We're gonna. He's famous for a few minutes. We're going for longevity.
In another like 6 months, he'll be fighting Mayweather. Is that what you're trying to
What if
tell
he
me?
does?
With invisible boxing
Yeah,
gloves?
with invisible. I'm gonna It's like
At the end, they give like Mayweather like an invisible belt.
It should just be a bunch of invisible stuff.
They go to pay Mayweather. It's
Invisible
check,
money?
and he's like, "What the?" They're like,
It's
"What, you
okay.
didn't-"
Mayweather doesn't know how to read, so
They're
he
like,
won't
"What,
know.
you didn't know?"
Floyd, it's invisible money.
He's like, "Oh, okay." So Bitcoin. He like doesn't get it. He's like, "Okay, so you're paying me in Bitcoin, Dogecoin? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense."
Right.
And then he just never gets it.
He just, nobody ever understands. I would watch that fight. I would be so excited if that fight happened where he gets paid. I would be more interested in seeing Floyd get his check with invisible money.
And then accepting it.
Right.
Because he didn't want to look like he
Right.
was.
Right. Like he sees all the rich people around and he's just like kind of staring.
And everyone's clapping.
Right. And he's just like
patting him on the back.
and he just like holds
Right.
it up.
He just goes along with it. He's like, this is what rich people do, right?
I
You just-
would fucking love to see that. Let's make that happen, people. Let's get Floyd Mayweather to fight for invisible money. Get your Instagram ready. I gotta do this here. I don't do this part. What if I? What
Are you
if I
trying to
did?
look overweight like Biggie? What are you doing? Jolly.
But then I gotta spit the awesome raps.
all a dream.
Word Up Magazine. What's your Instagram?
Alan Adams Comedy.
Hey, you've just listened to or watched another fine episode of Sorry for Screaming. We'll see you guys next time.